Welcome to Stoic Live, where we talk about the latest fishing and hunting topics.
What is going on, guys? Let's put on our headphones here and let's get into video podcast mode. Testing 1, 2, 3. What's going on, guys? Thanks for clicking on this video. Today's topic, today's discussion, I'm going to be talking to y'all about South Texas fishing guides. Am I going to expose the truth? Are these guys all frauds? Do they make it seem like they're catching fish all the time and they don't catch fish at all? Well, let's dive into it, man. I was fishing one time, got back to the ramp, and one of my buddies walked up to me and he's like, "Yo, bro, did you catch any fish?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, we caught a few. Check out the box right there, the ice chest." And he walked over and saw them, and he's like, "Nah, bro, these fish that you didn't catch them, man." I was like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" They're like, "Nah, man, these captains and guides, they pretend to catch fish. These fish are from a different trip." I'm like, "Bro, that makes like no sense because the fish are not gonna stay like the way they are in the ice chest for 2 or 3 days." So believe it or not, man, there's people out there that are conspiracy theories. They have conspiracy theories and they think that everything is fake in the fishing community. But let's expose the truth, man. Here are a few reasons why I would recommend using fishing guides, and at the end I'll give you guys my opinion on whether you should get one, my opinion on whether or not they are legit. So number one, have you been fishing your entire life? Do you have a boat? Do you have maintenance on the boat? Do you know where the fish are going to be at a certain time of the year? Well, these fishing guides, they have a lot of local knowledge, man. They've actually taken a course. They're certified. They know the oyster beds. They know the temperature, where the fish are going to be at for that time of the year. They know how deep the water is, so they're not getting stuck, man. But there have been times where captains have gone stuck before. It does happen, but not as much as it would if I'd be going out there and I don't know what I'm doing with the boat. Not as much as it would if I'm going out there and I don't know how to back up a boat, or I don't know how to load up the boat, or I don't even know how to clean the fish, man. These guys, they've been doing it for years, man. So they have tons of experiences. They've had plenty of encounters where something can go wrong, or they've had plenty of encounters where something goes right? So they have a lot of the local knowledge. They are very, very familiar with the best fishing spots. Seasonal patterns, like I said, they have all the understandings of the local regulations, the length of the fish, the check it stick. If you need a fishing license, if you don't need a fishing license, they know exactly what you need. Also, man, they have a great variety of knowledge in the expertise for what to use, for like what rod and reel am I going to be using. What lure am I going to be using to target a redfish? What lure am I going to be using to target trout, for flounder? What color of the lure to be throwing? Imagine going to work and your work is fishing. Of course, you're going to know exactly what to use for that water temperature, what to use for that water clarity. They just have a great knowledge and experience of the gear and tackle to use, man, especially like, what rod am I going to use, bro? If I'm going out and I'm throwing artificial lures, do I even know what rod to use? Am I going to be using a 7-foot medium heavy? Am I going to be using a big 10-foot surf rod for the bay? No, of course not, man. You ask the guide. The guide's going to have the gear. Sometimes you can go out there and take your own gear if you know what you're doing, but a majority of the time that I've talked to these guides, they always say, "Yo, bro, just show up, man, and I got the gear for your buddy," or "just show up and I got the gear for your brother," because I do go fishing with my brother. But majority of the time, I do have my own fishing rod, my own fishing setup, and I already know exactly like what to use or what I like to use to set myself up for success, right? So that's gonna be the second thing, man. Their expertise, their knowledge on the what gear and rod to use. One of the big things that I like to talk about when someone asks me, "Yo, bro, should I get a guide?" is safety. If you're out there in the middle of the bay and your boat turns off or it doesn't turn on, or you get stung by a stingray or something bad happens, are you going to know exactly what to do? Are you going to know who to call? A lot of these guides down here, man, majority of the guys that I fish with, they have the Towboat USA subscription. Shout out to you guys. If you guys want to advertise on my podcast, let me know. No, I'm just joking, bro. Y'all don't have to. I just like to promote other people's business, especially when it comes to something like this, because there's always something that can go wrong out there on the bay. So it's always better to be prepared. It's always better to have it than not need it. Like my dad used to say, right? It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. But Yeah, man. So that's a big thing that I tell people, man. If you're going out there and if you go out there and you've had experiences out fishing the Laguna Madre, Arroyo City, Port Manso, South Padre Island, you don't need a guide. You know what you're doing. All right, cool, bro. But if it's your first time and you're trying to go out there with your family, you're trying to go out there and have a good time, and remember, safety is like a big, important role, man. You don't want to just be driving your boat out there and get stuck, and you're not going to have anyone to call. You're going to have no service on your phone. You're going to run out of gas. You're going to have engine problems. Bro, be careful, man. Safety is number one. Safety is number one. And one of the underrated things that I like to tell people about as well is, yes, you can come out here to my YouTube channel. You can listen to my podcast, my video podcast, Stoic Live, or you can go out there and experience it for yourself. You can go out there and fish, and when you're fishing with these guides, always ask questions. I like to say, or I like to think that whenever I go fishing, I at least ask 4 to 5 questions, and they might be real minuscule, man. They might be small questions, but I'm always learning. The wheels in my head are always turning around like a clock, right? That's just my ADHD, right? But no, it's always learning. I'm always trying to pick up a new strategy, trying to pick up a new technique. So these guides, imagine going out fishing with someone and he's been fishing 20 years, the same spot, the same area, with the same line, with the same rod, with the same jig head, with the same lure. Bro, that guy knows that lure is going to work at that time. So always ask for help. Always ask for some tips, man. I was out fishing with Captain Marco, and I'm looking over to my left, and I see him reeling in a big 28-inch speckled trout. Looking over to the right, and his buddy, the guy that always goes out with him, is reeling in a big 27-inch trout. And I'm like, yo, bro, what am I doing wrong? And he looks at me, doesn't really say much, just sees me casting out there, and he's like, hey, bro, slow it down a quarter of a second. I'm like, all right, cool, man. So I cast it out there. Instead of popping it real fast and letting that lure not drop as long as I would, I waited a quarter of a second. And sure enough, I hooked up to a 29.5-inch speckled trout, right under 30 inches, right? Because that's always how it happens, right? You always catch a big speckled trout, and it's literally 29.99 inches, not 30 inches. But I looked over to Marco. I was like, yo, bro, I appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, man, for sure. He pretty much caught the fish for me, right? He pretty much got the rod and casted it out there and caught the fish for me. But hey, man, I learned to, whenever it's cold, whenever it's rainy, whenever it's misty, it's foggy, just think about it like you're a person, you're a fish. You're going to be real sluggish, right? You're not going to want to walk around. You're not going to be wanting to chase food. So what do? Let that lure drop in front of its mouth. All because I asked a question, all because I saw my homie catching fish. I saw this guy to the right catching fish, and I didn't want to be the only one that didn't catch fish, right? I don't want to be that guy. So I asked the question. Sure enough, it worked. So, man, these South Texas fishing guides, 100%, man. I'm just going to name a few of them. And for those that I don't name, I apologize, but this is just the ones that I'm coming up on top of my head. Captain Marco, you got Captain Jacob, Captain Dan, Captain Victor, and my uncle, Lifetime Fishing Charters. There's a lot of people to choose from, man. Just think, if you're going to be taking your family out there, and if you have a boat, if you have a nice boat, you probably know what you're doing. But if you have a boat that, you haven't taken out in 2 or 3 years, you haven't taken out in, a year, you might want to reconsider. You might want to call the guide and be like, yo, bro, can I buy a trip? Can I pay for a trip? And see if they're available for your schedule. So I'm not trying to promote them. No one's paying me to say this on the video. No one's paying me to promote their business. I'm just trying to watch out for you guys, because it's happened to me before, man, when I'm out fishing with a buddy, or I'm out fishing by myself, or one time I was fishing Falcon Lake with my buddy Fern, and something happens on the boat, and you're like, bro, you barely make it back to the ramp, and you're freaking out. Are we gonna go down? Are we gonna drown? And it's a mess, man. So I've been in that situation. So I'm just trying to look out for you guys, because I don't want anything bad to happen to you guys. Unfortunately, down here in South Texas, there's been times where you see on the news, man, where people pass away, or they're in a boating accident, or something happens, or where they get swept away with the water, man. I just want to make sure everyone's safe. I want to make sure everyone goes home to their loved ones. Tying it into my profession, man, safety is number one. So that's one of the big things why I recommend getting a fishing guide. And if you don't want to get a fishing guide, you don't want to pay, because sometimes it's a little bit expensive, you can always just comment below, man, and I'm sure a captain can get up on my channel right here, get up on my feed. This is a live premiere, so I'm always going to be in the chat to answer your questions. So you can comment below, like what questions you have, and I'll try to answer it for you. But if I can't steer you in the right direction, I can Google it. I can call a buddy of mine. I can call a captain, and I could try to answer your question. Because like the number one thing I always get asked is, "Yo, bro, where are the fish are at? Where are the fish? Yo, bro, what lure are you using? What rod and reel? What line are you using?" So I'm trying to answer all those questions on a video podcast. So you can come on here and just immerse yourself in the saltwater fishing experience, man. Just immerse yourself in all the knowledge that you can gain just by coming on here for free. It's crazy, man. I'm trying to really take the time and energy to help those that are just starting off, because I was there once, man, and I did not really enjoy it with that last video when I was talking about when someone didn't want to take the time to explain things to me properly. They didn't want to take the time to literally take 5 seconds out of their day to answer a question. So that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast, man. And I appreciate all the likes, all the shares, all the comments. It means the world to me, man. And it's good to be back on this YouTube platform. And sometimes I'm going to be stuttering, sometimes I'm going to mess up, but that's the whole point of just editing the video to the bare minimum and posting it so we can create this learning journey with each other, man. So thank you guys for watching this video. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Remember, be resilient on the water and off. Peace.
Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe and stick around for the next episode of Stoic Live.